All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. So we already had our reaction video go out. Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant. The Celtics have offered that. We don't know if it's true yet. I mean, Shams, he did come out with the story, and, you know, every blue check mark is almost confirming it. But who knows if it is... Who knows how legitimate that could be? Because even if it's a legitimate report, it could be the Nets coming and trying to drive up the price for Kevin Durant, yada, yada, yada. We don't know that yet, right? But we're jumping into a video here, a reaction video of Nick Wright reacting to the aghast Celtics offer for Kevin Durant, which, yeah, might as well jump into that right now because the Celtics, again, offered Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and a first-round pick, which I do think, even as a biased Celtics fan, seems a little low for one of the best, if not the best player in the league currently, in Kevin Durant. And I guess the Nets countered with Marcus Smart included, according to that report. But yeah, let's jump into it here, guys. Again, this is, I guess, Nick Wright having a crazy reaction to it. So we'll see what we're looking at here.
Kevin Durant heading to Beantown? Is there a chance? And should the Celtics go all out to land him? Hey, Bill Belichick's doing some unconventional things.
Shout out, Bill.
That's never happened before. We'll dive into his latest strange offseason activities. And who makes an NBA list and then doesn't put Michael Jordan #1? Say it with me, Nicholas Wright.
Of course Nick Wright does.
We will have that adorable debate coming up in just a little bit. Good Monday morning, everyone. Welcome to a very special post-vacation edition.
This dude's putting Michael Jordan as #3 all time. What a clickbait dweeb Nick Wright is. Nick wrong, if you're an OG of the podcast when we used to say that.
First things first.
But let's get into Jaylen. Come on.
Coordinators. Nick doesn't need Jordan at the top. Feels like a Monday, doesn't it, guys? Good to see you again. You're looking nice and tan.
Oh, great to see you. Listen, Brew looks tan. Wilds looks shockingly not as tan. I don't know, is the Handsome Men Club have a rule against that? I'm a little surprised. Oh, no, well, then we got to fix Wild. We got a lot to do today. Let's get right to it.
Please.
We only got 2 hours. We better. We got to start this morning with a report from Shams. Just 10 minutes ago, the Boston Celtics, get this, have offered Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and a draft pick to the Brooklyn Nets for one Kevin Durant. Brooklyn said nope and is asking that any proposal include both Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart picks and perhaps another rotational.
So it's almost like they did want Marcus, this is all reports again, Marcus Smart added to what was already there. Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Marcus Smart, and a pick. And even to me as a Celtics fan, I'm kind of like, whether I want to do that trade or not, I'm kind of like, yeah, that kind of seems like it should be the price.
Player. Woo! Great way to start this show. Broussard, I'll ask you, should the Boston Celtics go all in for Kevin Durant?
Absolutely, Jenna, without question. Now, that's assuming all in means anyone's available except for Jayson Tatum. And I'm not saying Tatum's better than Durant, even though he outplayed him in the playoffs, but he is 24 years old. 24!
That's
He's
huge.
been to 3 Eastern Conference Finals. And Kevin Durant, with his injuries over the last few years, I wouldn't give up Tatum for him. But everyone else, yes. Buy Jaylen, buy Marcus, buy picks.
Yeah, the picks, Marcus, I think I'm all in on that. Derek White, who cares? Jaylen Brown isn't as easy as it would have been, you know, a year or two ago, you know?
All right, and here's why, Nick. Because in Boston, it's not about being in the hunt. It's not about being an Eastern Conference finalist. It's not even about getting to the finals. It is about winning championships. And right now, as great as they were last year, I don't have them as the favorites in the East. I don't think most people have them as the favorites in the East. I got Milwaukee. If Brooklyn stays put and the team psychiatrist travels with them to games, they could be good.
Brooklyn.
Watch out for Philly and Miami. They're right there as well. I'm just saying, get the mind right and the rest will follow. So if I'm Boston, I'm trying to win right now. And if I've got Kevin Durant and Jayson Tatum.
The one counter, again, I'm not trying to argue that that's wrong. I do think the Celtics can win right now with Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum. In fact, they almost proved it last year. Then they add Malcolm Brogdon, get Danilo Gallinari, Derek White gets better, Peyton Pritchard gets better. These guys coming off the bench get better. Robert Williams gets better. You know what I mean? Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown themselves get better. The Celtics can win right now. Does having Kevin Durant make it easier? Probably.
And then some of the other guys that play hard and defend, oh, yes, they are the favorites in the East and maybe in the entire league. So go for it. Absolutely, go for it.
Well, listen, you said a lot there I agree with. The only thing I might disagree with is you said the Boston Celtics are about one thing, winning championships. Well, I mean, they've won one championship since the Reagan administration, so I'm not certain if they've really been that about it. However, with that said, I understand your general point. We go back far enough in history, and they were once upon a time about championships. Now they're really more about being in the hunt. So, listen, I think I can thread the needle for you, Wilds, because they offered Brown and White. The Nets want Brown, Smart, and other stuff. I think Brown plus Time Lord and 3 picks might get it done. No. And I think if you're the Nets, it's like, a young, defensive-minded center. We had that once upon a time, but we traded him because...
I'm going to let it slide because I guess he's saying that would get it done, probably. But, man, that's mortgaging too much for Kevin Durant, who a year from now could be unhappy here to me.
We had to get DeAndre Jordan minutes. And so you can undo that move. You can get Brown. So you do all this. So I think maybe this trade actually does get done at some point. But Bruce said something I agree with, but I want to throw to you, which is the Jayson Tatum question. Because the simple trade is Kevin Durant for Jayson Tatum. Now, because
that's
salaries, you'd have to throw in like Grant Williams and Sam Hauser, but it would essentially be 1-for-1. No picks, you know what I mean? Our budding superstar for your current superstar, we get the better player, you get the longer runway. And the reason people don't want to do that, and the reason I even had Tatum as one of the 10 guys that I wouldn't trade straight up for Kevin Durant, is because of the age. But I was listening to your buddy Bill Simmons' podcast.
That's a big deal.
When he did his trade value thing. And it was a really good, aside from the fact he had LeBron 35th, it was a really good overall exercise.
Let's take a look at this list. Giannis, Luka, Steph, Embiid, Jokic, Mobley, Edwards, Zion, Ja, and Tatum. For, you wouldn't trade for Durant. Yeah.
But he kept saying something that made me kind of pause, which was... He also had Mobley super high and Edwards super high. And he also had some, Chet really high. And he kept saying, well, I'm not trading 15 years of player X for 3 years of Kevin Durant.
If that. What if he gets unhappy? What if Kevin Durant gets unhappy on your team? He's going to blow it up.
Bring it up. 15 years of player X is not a thing anymore. Jayson Tatum's got 3 years left on his deal. You know how long that means Jayson Tatum's guaranteed to be in Boston? About a year and a half. I'm not saying Jayson Tatum's going to demand a trade, but in today's NBA, with the player mobility and with the guys demanding trade within contracts moving around, is it possible we are overvaluing a guy's youth because the assumption had been, well, his career will be spent in one place? Says who? For Dirk, Duncan, and Kobe, yes. For everybody else, no. So I wouldn't do Tatum for KD, but I am softening that a bit because...
Why? Out of... This is such a Nick Wright thing. It's like the news is Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant. Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant in the package, and the Nets counter with, we want Marcus Smart, Jaylen, and blah, 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 right? If that's all true, why the hell is Nick Wright diving for 82 minutes of our time about Jayson Tatum for Kevin Durant? Nikki, baby, no one said anything about Jayson Tatum for Kevin Durant. He frustrates me so much.
I've been thinking about Tatum for the next 10 years, but it might be that the Celtics would have KD for the next 3 years, Tatum for the next 3 years, and then he leaves. So who would you rather have? So you're the Celtics fan. I'm curious how all this lands with you.
Okay, so I'm a basketball fan, and I occasionally root for the Celtics. And when I am rooting for the Celtics, Broussard, you know what I'm interested in? Championships. I'm not interested in, 3 Eastern Conference Finals. Okay, thanks. I would make the KD for Tatum move immediately. To the point where, if you look at, when you read Woj's article, the fact that he's like, oh, Tatum's off the board. And like, are we sure he's off the board? Or are we just saying he's off the board?
Why is this what it's turning into? Why is this what it is turning into?
And I know it's like, well, like Nick said, longer runway. I also think KD's game is going to age like a fine wine, like a fine Lobos tequila, which is top 5 tequilas I just read on LeBron's Instagram. Congratulations. So I think his game is going to age beautifully. So, maybe it's 3 years. Maybe it's 5 years. A 7-foot guy who can...
What the hell are we talking about here? What are we talking about here?
Just nail mid-range jumpers? Yeah, I think that's going to translate. So, Broussard, if you are actually about going all in and winning championships, then I think you should be with me and say, yeah, include Tatum. Do Tatum for KD, because that is the championship move.
No, I wouldn't do it. Look, Kevin Durant, again, I still think he's better than Jayson Tatum, but his health, he played 35 games, 55 games each of the last 2 seasons. I can't be certain about KD. You're right, his game will age well, but will his body age well? And so I am not doing that but here's a twist on what you're saying. If I'm the Nets, I'm not doing this deal unless I get Jayson Tatum. Period. Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Time Lord, it's not enough. Because outside of Jaylen Brown is a second guy at best, right, on a championship.
So I'll say this. I still do. I agree. I agree that the Nets, that would get the deal done. Jayson Tatum for Kevin Durant, like, no kidding. But where's this coming from? That's not going to happen. Like, Jayson Tatum's untouchable. We should know that by now. Whether you like Jayson Tatum or hate him, you should understand the Celtics view Jayson Tatum as an untouchable. How many times have you ever heard his name brought up in trade talks, even for guys like Kevin Durant? So what are we doing here? Talking about, that's the package. But should they trade Jayson Tatum? It's like, what? That's not in the report. Why are you guys just making this up? This turned into... and I'm committed to this video now, right? But this turned into, I wanted to see, someone on Twitter said that Nick Wright's reaction was stupid. And I guess it is. Like, what do you mean? You're not reacting to Jaylen Brown package for Kevin Durant. You're just making up a new one.
Game team at best. The rest of those guys, I like them. Time Lord, Grant Williams, Derek. I like all of Marcus Smart, but I think they're closer to system players. They're great with
that could be maybe not Time Lord.
With
I would
Brad
say
Stevens and the culture in Boston. They're not going to be great or fantastic just anywhere.
I think Time Lord could be with another, a really good point guard and stuff. He can get better and better.
They'll be good hustle players, but if I'm the Nets, I got Kevin Durant for 4 years. I'm not giving him up unless Jayson Tatum's coming from Boston. Yeah, I said
maybe.
Okay, well. Of course he said it. Even though, listen, Woj and Shams both reported, and I thought this was the other big news of this, that KD has not softened his trade demand. This idea that KD was throwing it out there, seeing what would happen, and then might back off it. That, to me, is real news. But here's the other real news of this. You know who also sees...
Ready for this? Ready for this? Nick. Am I looking the right way? Yes. Nick. What's the real news of this? Please tell me, buddy.
The Shams report this morning that the Celtics have offered Jaylen Brown this season. And Jaylen Brown, we saw some social media stuff where he felt a little... okay, Wilds. Hey, buddy.
Did dude just say it's a compliment to get offered in a trade?
I'm going to tell you right now, you can say that's a compliment. I understand. You can say it's a compliment.
Oh, my God.
But if it was in the New York Post this morning that First Things First offered me for Charles Barkley, yeah, you could say, well, he is the best in the business. That's a compliment. You know what I would say? You know what? Screw you guys. You go work without me then. Get Chuck. You can share it with the Live Tour. I'd be angry. So you can say, and listen, Chuck's the best in the business. He's better than me. But the idea, I know you all would do it. I'm just telling you, the human, it'd be a better show. I understand. The human element it plays into that. And you know what, Jenna?
Hey, I put my camera next to him and everything. First right thing he said. Nick Wright says something right instead of wrong. Jaylen Brown should be pissed. Jaylen Brown should be so mad at this. You don't get offered. Who cares if it's a compliment? Yeah, you're in a deal for Kevin Durant. You're not even getting offered straight up for Kevin Durant. You have to have like 8 other guys alongside you. Jaylen Brown has felt slighted by Boston, and then they're going to go and ask to trade him?
Charles
compliment my ass.
And you guys would lose this next segment. That's what you would lose. That's what you'd lose.
All right. So that turned into a Kevin Durant for Jayson Tatum debate. But Nick Wright, I mean, yeah, he's completely, I guess right in 2 ways. Yes, the trade that they offered, the Nets are not going to say no to. And yes, Jaylen Brown should be mad, but Jayson Tatum should not be in the conversation. And in fact, from what we know, Jayson Tatum's not in the conversation. So, sir, Nick, wrong. I'm sorry, but I just don't really align with anything you're saying. I don't know why, for 10 minutes, that is the lane we just went down there. Jayson Tatum, in my opinion, is off the books. He's not going to be able to be traded. He's untouchable. And, the 15 years versus 3 years, that's still a valid argument to have. Jayson Tatum has this potential. That's the word. It's potential. It's not saying Jayson Tatum's going to be here for 15 years, but if you have the potential to have a guy that drops 60 points in a game and ties your franchise record, you might as well keep him around over a guy that, tomorrow could be a malcontent and be gone. But that's what I got for you guys. I don't even know, man. I thought we were going to talk about the Jaylen and the package there, but Nick Wright went total Jayson Tatum on us. So it is what it is, guys. But I'll catch you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.